We are living in an era of remarkable transformation, led by a powerful technology. A technology capable of mimicking the workings of the human brain that is reshaping our world in ways we couldn't have imagined even a decade ago. It writes, it sees, it drives, it creates, it even diagnoses diseases. Many paths led to this world-changing technological revolution. One of them is the remarkable story of how research into the human brain paved the way for what we now know as artificial intelligence. It was the age of video games and cassette players. Smartphones weren't a thing yet, but personal computers were popping up while the Berlin Wall was coming down. Change was everywhere. But for neuroscientists, there was a growing realization that they had hit a wall of their own. In the 1980s, neuroscientists had come to understand the brain's building blocks, unique cells called neurons. But the brain is enormously complex. For a human to do anything, think, feel, or act, requires teamwork between billions and billions of neurons. At the time, there was no technology capable of measuring that complicated teamwork.
Back then, when I started, you could only record from one neuron at a time. And of course, by recording from one neuron at a time, you can make a lot of progress in terms of understanding their properties. But what you don't understand is how they work together, coordinated.
Trying to understand how the brain works by recording from one neuron at a time was like trying to understand a language by hearing only one letter. But then a transformation began that led to a new era in neuroscience. Some physicists were becoming frustrated with lack of progress in their own field.
Experiments got very long. You have to be extremely patient and wait many years for the experiments to come around, and I just didn't have the patience for it.
The group of us were drawn by the mystery of the brain and the importance of making progress.
The brain is as mysterious as the universe. But with my skills in physics, I realized that I might be able to actually create mathematical models of all of the complexities of a neuron that could help us explain their function. And that's how I got into neuroscience.
At the time, neuroscientists simply didn't have the experimental tools to crack the code of the brain. Too many neurons together in a massive network. So the next best thing? Build theoretical models of the brain and use these to help understand how it works.
Every thought that passes through our mind, every decision that we make, every movement that we make involves the concerted effort of large populations of neurons. So it is impossible to understand how this emerges without the tools and the concept of physics.
Physicists had a long tradition of developing theories and models of things that are hard to measure or experiment on directly. Invisible forces like gravity or the Big Bang.
If you saw a complicated geometric structure, one thing you might do is take out a Lego set and build something that looks like it. And then you would realize how, this beam is holding up this piece and how the whole thing is being put together. And that would allow you to understand the system that you've modeled with Lego in a new and interesting way. That's very much like what we do, using not Lego, but mathematics and computers.
Some of the most groundbreaking models of the brain were artificial neural networks. With these, scientists could start figuring out how billions of neurons in the brain work together. These artificial neural networks could mimic functions of the human brain, like how we generate speech. And they could repeat tasks and learn from them, just like people. One of these programs, NetTalk, made a bit of a splash at the time. It developed simple models that could turn text into human-sounding speech. Primitive by today's standards, but revolutionary at the time. At first, NetTalk spouted gibberish. But when given a sound file of the correct pronunciation to practice with, it learned the right way to say things. After one night of rehearsals, it sounded like this.
When we walk home from school, I walk home with 2 friends, and sometimes we can't run home from school now.
It went through a series of stages. The first stage was babbling, ba 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 ga da da. And then it could do single small words, and then it did larger words, and then you could understand it, whole sentences. This was stunning.
NetTalk was built on 2 game-changing concepts in AI, the Boltzmann machine and the backpropagation algorithm. The Boltzmann machine helped the artificial neural network find hidden patterns in large sets of data, almost like a detective searching for clues. The backpropagation algorithm made it possible for the network to learn from its mistakes. Together, these concepts revolutionized the way artificial neural networks worked.
Back then, it was generally believed that neural networks was a dead end. But we showed that, in fact, they were wrong. It wasn't a dead end. Of course, it took a generation to convince the senior people because they didn't really take us too seriously back then. We were the furry little mammals under the feet of the dinosaurs. And they didn't know yet, of course, what was going to happen to them.
Pioneering scientists like Terry Sinowski, along with Nobel Prize winners John Hopfield and godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, were key players in these groundbreaking developments.
Geoffrey and I, we thought we had figured out how the brain works. And we were so elated back then. And little did we know, of course, that it would be a much more difficult problem. There are still mysteries in the brain that are really, really beyond us.
The brain is enormous in the complexity of its microscopic structure. The more we learn about the brain, the more we are at awe about that complexity.
Even though much of the human brain remains a mystery, this new approach was a revolutionary way of studying it. And the realization quickly grew that this new technology could have applications well beyond neuroscience. It opened a door to a whole new world and grew into one of the wildest tech revolutions in history: artificial intelligence.
The advances in neuroscience between the 80s and 90s were crucial for the development of artificial intelligence.
AI is a mix of ideas that have been brewing for about 70 years. Even though the first big breakthroughs in AI were made in neuroscience in the 1980s, the term AI was actually introduced in the 1950s. And many bright minds in various fields have played a role in advancing AI since then. Fast forward to the 2010s. The complex structure of the human brain is mimicked in powerful deep learning models. These models improve image and speech recognition, medical diagnosis, and bring us closer to the possibility of self-driving cars. By 2020, breakthroughs led to generative AI and chatbots like ChatGPT that can generate entirely new content from long texts to high-quality images and realistic videos.
The journey of artificial intelligence has been very long. It took many, many years until we got a full exploitation of the potential of AI.
It took decades to build up algorithms and insights based on modeling of neurons on the one hand and also on these network models for artificial intelligence. But now things have exploded. I mean, there are so many papers coming out that I can barely keep up with it.
Today, artificial intelligence is everywhere, touching all parts of our lives.
We are in the midst of a revolution in AI. AI makes its way into so many different systems in which it's not even called AI anymore. Most of the things we do with computers, with mobile phones, with entertainment involve AI in some way. Typing an email and getting the next word predicted. Opening Netflix and seeing a show recommended. Turning on your car and having it tell you there's a pedestrian in front of the car. These are all cases where it may not be called AI, but AI-related technologies are running behind the scenes.
An advantage of having had a kind of a long career in science is you see the progress that when you were younger, you just assumed this was never going to happen. I'm not sure any of us imagined that something like ChatGPT would be coming along within our lifetimes, even anybody's lifetimes. So I guess you can never underestimate human beings. We are a very creative bunch, and progress is remarkable.
Around the corner, AI promises self-driving vehicles, improved medical diagnostics, more efficient industries, solutions to major challenges like climate change and space travel. But such powerful technology comes with significant risks and complex challenges.
Every time we make a discovery, it can be used for good and for evil. In physics, the discovery of nuclear physics was wonderful, and then it made atomic weapons. We have an incredible responsibility in both in AI and neuroscience to play a role in trying to prevent those discoveries from being used in the wrong ways.
Politicians, scientists, tech industry leaders, artists, and even pioneers of AI are raising concerns. Will AI take over from humans and even lead to the extinction of the human race?
It's a time of huge uncertainty and nobody really knows what's going to happen. Maybe things will stall and maybe they won't become smarter than us. But I don't really believe that. I think they're going to be smarter than us. But maybe when they become smarter than us, we'll be able to keep them benevolent and we'll be able to keep them caring much more about people than they care about themselves, unlike people. But maybe not.
When it comes to modern public conversations about AI, there are the doers and the doomers. The doers, you're going to find those at university research labs, industry research labs, startup companies. These are people that are taking AI-related technologies, putting them together and trying to develop new methods around AI. On the doomer side, you have people saying these systems are going to be the death of us and AI is going to become sentient like Skynet and unleash a Holocaust and destroy all of humanity. There's something about that term AI that makes people kind of lose their minds. I think something similar happened with robotics in the past, but I often remember this example. What do you call a robot that washes dishes? Well, that's just a dishwasher. It no longer needs to be described as a robot doing something.
Very recently, I suddenly realized these superintelligences may be here quite soon. And I'm just sounding the alarm so that people listen to the experts who've been thinking for a long time about how we might stop them taking control.
The idea of a technology that could rival human intelligence is both exciting and frightening. But how close are we to making that a reality? To begin to understand this, we first need to know what AI really is. So what do we mean when we talk about AI? At its core, AI is all about algorithms, artificial neural networks, data analysis, and a ton of computing power that allow machines and software to do tasks that usually require human intelligence. Things like language, reasoning, problem solving, and learning. For AI to do these things effectively, it needs lots of training on huge amounts of data. An example we are all familiar with is ChatGPT.
They're trained by predicting the next word in a sentence. And that's all they get is the next word in a sentence, the next word in a sentence. But they have to build up an internal model to be able to make the prediction. And that internal model now can be used to generate new sentences that have never been said before. Very, very powerful.
To take full advantage of this power, AI needs data that has been assigned a tag or label that gives it context. For example, a data set that might contain thousands or millions of images marked either cats or dogs. For humans, figuring out the difference is practically a no-brainer.
There's something about the way the human brain evolved over millions of years that brought us to a point where we are exceptionally efficient in recognizing things from very few examples. So for example, a 5-year-old child, if they open the refrigerator and there's a figurine of a giraffe standing in the butter dish, the kid has no problem recognizing that it is a figurine of an animal. It's not the real animal, and it's in a strange location in the refrigerator. There is no need for that child to have 1 million examples of that giraffe in toy form presented in that setting. Perhaps that's the biggest challenge we have, is figuring out how to get better results with fewer training examples.
But what happens when AI no longer needs 1 million examples of a giraffe? That raises some crucial questions. What if AI can learn as efficiently as humans? What if it could learn even faster? What might that lead to? While concerns about AI outpacing human learning are real, the recent progress comes with enormous potential, especially for understanding the brain. The scientific evolution behind artificial intelligence has now come full circle, driving breakthroughs and advances in neuroscience.
Human brains did research that led to the creation of neural networks and modern AI, which in some sense are creating a machine brain. And now that means that there will be the potential for the machine brains, or these AI brains, to help people.
Ole, vi skal jo have lavet den her brain-computer interface træning for at få din hjerne til at snakke bedre med din arm.
A rehabilitation center in a small Danish town is using cutting-edge AI to transform lives. A type of technology called brain-computer interface lets patients' brains communicate directly with machines. This is helping patients regain control of limbs paralyzed after a stroke. The project is called BCI STAR. It uses a specially designed AI algorithm to analyze brain activity recorded from stroke patients. It filters out noise and spots important patterns in the data.
Brain activity is so chaotic and so individual. Most of us have tried to look at a TV screen that is not hooked up to a particular channel. You have this electrical snowstorm going on. And even though we as humans cannot extract the information from the signals, the computer can. What the patient is trying to do on a very precise, narrow level cannot be extracted without the use of artificial intelligence. Focus. Spænd. Slap af. Super.
When a patient thinks about moving their limb but can't, the AI identifies the moments when the brain is most active. At that exact point, electrical stimulation is applied to the nerves of the paralyzed limb. This is like building an artificial bridge that connects the patient's brain to the paralyzed limb. By bridging the gap, the natural connection between the paralyzed limb and the brain is strengthened, speeding up recovery.
30 years ago, a stroke patient would be put into the nearest medical department and then we would see what happened. But today we have brain-computer interface algorithms that tell us how and when to perform which physical therapy in order for the patient to gain the most benefit and the best chance of getting back to a life they want to live. And as a neuroscientist, I am thankful for the opportunities that technology gives us to help our patients every day.
Brain-computer interfaces are also playing a crucial role in shaping the future of robotics. At the Neurorobotics Lab at the Technical University of Denmark, groundbreaking work is mixing robotics, neuroscience, and artificial intelligence. To create more advanced robots, the lab is zeroing in on understanding the brain better.
The brain-computer interface allows us to collect data directly from the brain. If we have an algorithm that is able to reproduce the skills that our brain has, the skills like learning, reasoning, understanding how to move, so motor skills, then the robot automatically will be able to do these complex tasks. If we were able to get a full understanding of our brain and be able to endow this brain into a robot, we could use the robot to reverse engineering the brain and understanding when things don't work in the way we expect. For example, when Parkinson, dementia, Alzheimer, or any other kind of disease is present.
By creating a neural network that works like a healthy brain, scientists are able to develop powerful robots of the future. But it can also give us new insights into how the human brain works and what goes wrong when it's affected by serious brain diseases. Real-life examples show just how powerful combining neuroscience and artificial intelligence has proven to be for patients suffering from neurological diseases.
Can you get my wife for a moment? I need her to move my head.
Yes. Is that okay?
Yes. Can you also recline my chair? Good, thank you.
Casey Harrow lives in Oakland, California, with his wife Lavana and their 5-year-old daughter, Aya. Casey is battling ALS, a debilitating disease that has left him completely paralyzed and silenced his voice.
Not being able to communicate is so frustrating and demoralizing. It makes you feel shut out of everything and very alone. The world is continuing around you, and you are not able to jump in and participate.
For me, our lack of communication has been the hardest part. Having Casey be constantly around his daughter, but not be able to interact with them, not be able to prevent them from getting hurt.
Losing the ability to speak is devastating. Just imagine wanting to say something and not being able to do it. Imagine not being able to tell someone that you love them, or that you're in pain, or that your nose is itchy. Casey lives in a reality where he can understand everything that's around him. He's highly intelligent, but he can't be understood.
But thanks to a groundbreaking brain-computer interface system, Casey is now able to communicate again.
You might not know, but I am able to also control a computer cursor on my Apple computer with my mind.
A team at UC Davis Health in California is leading the way with this innovative technology that uses AI to translate brain signals into text on a screen. In the summer of 2023, Casey became the first patient in this clinical trial when he had surgery to implant electrodes in the part of his brain that is responsible for generating speech. 3 months after surgery, Casey was ready to test the system for the first time.
And it's the text-to-speech that sounds kind of like you.
The first day was really tense for everyone involved. We had spent a couple of years developing this system. Casey had volunteered for a brain surgery, and until that day when we actually connected the brain recording electronics to his head, we didn't know if we would even get good brain signals.
Of course, all hoped it would work instantly, but we were also prepared for the possibility that we might run into a bug or some reason why it might not work.
Okay, ready?
The very first sentence, it appeared on the screen. He tried to read it. It was kind of this magic moment. When those first 2 words appeared as they were supposed to, so they were the right words, they weren't just random words, we knew that this could work.
It's okay, take your time.
It was absolutely incredible. It was something I'll never forget.
For me personally, it was easily the most gratifying moment in my career to date.
This BCI is the most accurate neuroprosthesis ever reported. Its revolutionary AI algorithm translates Casey's brain signals into words with a 98% accuracy.
I was totally elated that I would have the opportunity to communicate more efficiently and easily with my family and friends.
Artificial intelligence drives multiple steps in the BCI, from decoding Casey's brain activity to predicting the words he wants to say. AI even recreates Casey's own voice.
The easiest way to protect ourselves from mercury pollution is to limit our consumption of fish with elevated mercury levels.
By using old videos of Casey, scientists have successfully mimicked his voice and were able to digitally reconstruct how he sounded.
Exactly, thank you.
One of the reasons we were able to do this now and not 5-10 years ago is that the artificial intelligence research that has been happening has advanced so far.
A speech neuroprosthesis like this is not possible without AI. AI is playing a very important role along many steps of our decoding pipeline.
Please continue.
It's been incredible. Now we have, for example, a routine where Aya will come and flop up on Casey's lap and they'll have a conversation about their day, and I can leave the room and Casey is parenting without me around, and it's I feel like Aya has their dad back.
It's been incredibly special to watch Casey, regain his ability to communicate and to see just how much of a positive impact this can make to a person and will hopefully make for other people like him in the future.
I think the future is really exciting for BCI technology. I think we're probably 5 or 10 years away when I, as a surgeon, am going to be able to prescribe one of these devices for someone living with paralysis.
Yeah, what's great about doing this type of research is that we are learning a great deal about how the human brain works, and that's going to help us build better neuroprostheses in the future. So it's really this circle of basic science research allows medical applications, those give us more data to do more research, and that lets us develop even better therapies.
But any new technology is a double-edged sword that can be used for both good and harm. The use of brain-computer interfaces raises ethical concerns that sound like science fiction. Current technology allows the patient to send out signals which can be used to control machines. But what if this is not a one-way street? What if those same brain-computer interfaces could send signals from the outside world into our brains?
You could imagine if there are certain financial interests involved, you may not even be able to trust your own instincts anymore because you could have a thought that is implanted by an artificial system. That is completely uncharted territory. I kind of hope I don't see that during my lifetime, but future generations are going to have to navigate that problem.
As artificial intelligence continues to advance, it opens up a new world of possibilities, opportunities, concerns, and risks. The pace of change is rapid, and we are entering uncharted territory, where the lines between machines and the human brain may become blurred. But for the physicists turned neuroscientists, AI sparks real hope and optimism.
The AI tools are just going to be, I think, an incredibly new and exciting development. If I was very young now, I could imagine my career being that I would collaborate with an AI device. There'll be a machine in my office and I'll ask certain questions of it and it'll ask certain questions of me. And hopefully we'll learn how to get the best out of each other.
I see AI as a major revolution, not only in technology, but also in potentially new ways to understand the brain.
I would encourage younger people to see how far you can take it and to see where it leads us. And then, we also need to have regulatory systems. We need to be able to control things. And we've done that with other technologies in the past. We've done this with nuclear weapons. We've done it with biotechnology. So this is a solvable problem. We just have to be focused.